In every universe, Superman is the constant, a symbol of hope, a man raised by kindness. But in Absolute Universe, Superman isn't born into hope. He crawls towards through its fire. Today, we're diving into the story of Absolute Superman, his Krypton, his parents, his arrival, his suit, and his powers. Lois Lane, Brainiac the program, and the Peacemaker who tried to break him before he even became a hero. This isn't your father's Superman. This is the one forged in labor, in struggle, in steel. Most Superman stories start on a dying Krypton, ruled by scientists and politicians. But Absolute Universe flips that idea on its head. Here, Krypton is built on a strict caste system, and Kal-El is not born in privilege. That's fantastic. His parents, Jor-El and Lara, belong to labor guild. Not scientists, not generals, just normal people who work for the higher class. Jor-El is mining engineer and Lara is farmhand and mechanic. Two people raised to serve the higher class, but wise enough to see the crack in Krypton's perfect facade. Instead of teaching Kal-El about destiny, they teach him about work, about pain, about building something with your own hands. They tell him the laborers are the people of steel, and that line becomes the foundation of Absolute Superman's entire philosophy. Krypton still dies, that part never changes, but how it dies is different. This world is colder, crueler, and so much darker. The ruling class refuses to listen as the planet destabilizes. The laborers, the ones actually mining the planet's core, are the first to understand that something is wrong, and they are first to be ignored. Jor-El built the ship, not as a grand scientific achievement, but as a desperate act of a father trying to save his own son from a world that refuses to value the lives of people who held it together. Kal-El is launched into space, but not only him. There was a big ship, and everyone that they knew was in it, but it got destroyed, so the suits that they wore became a small spaceship, and then they could travel, but all of them were destroyed except Kal-El's. Kal-El was sent as a teenager, not a baby, enough to remember Krypton, old enough to understand loss, old enough to hold a grudge. And this is the first major difference between Absolute Universe and the main DCU. Because in the main story of Superman, we don't see him remember the Krypton and what it was to live in that place. So that's fantastic that we have it here. This Superman doesn't grow innocent. He grows up haunted. Kal-El's pod crashes into a world that's just as hard as the one he fled. In this universe, Earth is dominated by megacorporations and military industrials like Lazarus Corps, and their brutal enforcers are Peacemakers. And when he lands, we have a perfect story going back as Martha and Jonathan Kent holding him and taking him to their home. And there are several nights that he's asleep and passed out, and there are a lot of things that are happening, but we go past that. Absolute Superman's power are familiar: strength, speed, flight, heat vision. But the fantasy is replaced by raw, grounded brutality. He's powerful but not polished, strong but not graceful, and his suit is not a symbol of virtue, not a blanket from a loving mother. It's a Kryptonian work gear. This Superman doesn't wear a family emblem, he wears the mark of a worker. A reminder that a steel is forged through pressure, not prophecy. Now let's talk about Lois Lane. Lois Lane in this universe isn't the hopeful, rebellious journalist we're used to. She's sharper, more dangerous, a soldier, agent, and when she meets Kal-El, there is no instant trust, no romantic spark at all. Instead, it's two hard people trying to understand each other's pain. And At the same time that Lois sees him, she puts a handcuff on Kal-El's hand, which is just amazing. She tries to take him in, but he tries to save her life. Lois becomes his anchor, not because she sees the true hero inside him, but because she sees the savior. Now let's talk about the villain of this story. Every Superman needs a Brainiac, but Absolute Superman's Brainiac is no ordinary alien machine. Here, Brainiac is a program. Kinda. Let me explain. A twisted body horror evolution of data and flesh. An intelligence that mutates, puppets, infects, and evolves organic life. He isn't collecting cities, he is rewriting people. Absolute Brainiac is one of the most disturbing interpretations of the character ever created. A perfect villain for a universe built from the bones of the tyranny and control. Now, because I've mentioned it a lot, let's talk about the Peacemakers. The Peacemakers serve as a corporate police, not heroes, not protectors, but enforcers. They see Kal-El's arrival as a threat, a living weapon that must be contained, exploited, and destroyed. They are the lever that push Kal-El toward becoming Superman, not through destiny, but through defiance. Every fight with them is a reminder that in this universe, Superman isn't allowed to be hopeful. He has to earn it. So what makes Absolute Superman stand out from every other version of characters? It's simple. He's born into hope, he fights through it, he isn't carried by destiny, he crawls out of pain. He doesn't represent the kindness of Kents, he represents the strength of laborers. This Superman isn't just a symbol of humanity can be. He's a symbol of what humanity deserves. And that's what makes him the most grounded, most raw, and maybe the most human Superman ever written. I love this story so much. Now, next time we're talking about the absolute Wonder Woman, and her origin, her tragedy is something that you all want to hear. This is Ali from HZ, and I'll see you in the next one.